Hey everyone, welcome. See, I'm starting to get my little technology things all worked out. Oh yes, the wall reveal. There it is. There it is. I have not put the up there yet because I can't find two of my letters, but I was really surprised that I actually have all the letters. I'm done. I got them all. I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure about the N, and I might trade out an L or an A just so it's a little more contrast. But yeah, there we go. It's up. It's happening. Thank you guys. Thank you. I tell you, we were a little bit nervous. So I'm not one to I do things with and hope for the best. So we actually were hammering and nailing right over all of that blue glass right there. I was a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little nervous, but we just held on to that hammer tight. You could just see me dropping the hammer, you know. I am still waiting. I'm kind of watching down below me. We have what's called like the green room. The green room is like the backstage thing. And I'm watching for Josh to pop on here. I haven't heard that there's any problems, but then I just got a message from him that he's coming. It's probably one of those things where, you know, the time difference thing and just not realizing what time of the day it was already. So he'll be on here momentarily. Who I'm referring to is Josh of Harry Tornado. If you guys are not following Josh's channel, you should be, because even if he doesn't sell what you sell and he doesn't sell anything that I sell, there's a lot to be learned in how he interacts with people and how he runs his business and how he organizes his business. And we're going to talk more about that today. Do I see Joey Bada Bing in the house? So it was actually Joey Bada Bing 22 is where I was introduced to Harry Tornado through Joey's channel and Joey going live on his channel, that I thought, you know what, I'm going to go check out this Harry Tornado that everybody's talking about. What the heck is this? And so I can just see he popped on. We're going to bring him on screen here in just a second. But that's when I started watching Josh's YouTube videos and stuff. And I thought, hey, this guy has a lot of really good information and he's really fun to watch. And I've been hooked ever since. So I got to meet Josh and his wonderful wife, Hayley, when they came out to Vegas for the Boss Reseller Remix Conference. And it was one of my highlights, getting to meet them. And they are as amazing in person as you see them on screen. And without further ado, I'm going to bring Josh on here. Let's see if all this technology works here. There we go.
Hey, how's it going?
So
can you hear and see me okay?
We can hear and see you. I see you're in the car.
Yeah.
It's always something in this life, isn't it? Always on the move. Always.
Yeah. So sorry I'm late.
It's okay. I was just telling everybody how I was introduced to you through Joey Bada Bing 22. And then started watching your channel, and then got hooked because you have really good, solid information. And then now you weren't a speaker out at the Boss Reseller Remix, but I saw you on the guest list, and everybody's going like, "Oh, Harry Tornado is coming to the conference." I'm like, "Oh, bonus!" So
yeah, it was kind of a last minute thing for us. We didn't. I just kept seeing people post about it. I was like, that seems like a fun place to be. So we bought tickets and went. And I told Katie and Vicky, I was like, if you guys want me to talk, I will. But it was like 3 weeks before the thing, and like, we're kind of booked up this year, but we'll get you on the list for next year. But we had an absolute blast. I mean, I love meeting you and everybody there. Honestly, it was just a really fun time.
Yeah, it was. And if they're going to do the conference again, I know they scheduled the dates, but I don't know what they are off the top of my head. But those tickets are going to sell out fast because it was one of the most talked about events in the reseller world for many reasons. I mean, it was just fantastic. And I go to a lot of conferences, and I was sad when that one was over. A lot of times you're like ready, like it's like, oh man, it's like one more day of sitting in this seat all day. but I didn't want that one to end. So
yeah, it was that was a really fun time.
Yeah. So you are one of the YouTube channels that I watch consistently. I don't get to a lot of them because there's only so many hours in a day, but I mean, I'm like, I go through the shoe department now at my Goodwill, even though that's not my niche. I'm like, I don't sell shoes, but I want to like learn to like, okay, where's that, you know, we're like, see, I can't even think of the brand, like what's the one that's like starts with an H, Hookahs or something?
Hokas, yeah.
Hocus. Okay. So I'm like always looking for those, and the Merrills was kind of the sleeper. Like I've seen those. I'm like, oh, I didn't know those were like, you know, worth something. And
It's not all of them. Like, I mean, most of the brands, like once they start becoming more popular with resellers, obviously there's going to be more listings, and even if the demand stays the same, if you list more of them, the supply goes up. So it's basically, you know, supply and demand issues. You know, so there's like Hokas still sell, but not quite as instantly as they used to. You know, same with Merrills. Merrills used to be like, you know, they wouldn't last but a week or so a month, and now I think we've had a couple pair that have been listed for 3 or 4 months, and they'll still sell, but you just have to price them accordingly and make sure your pictures are really good.
Well, you're probably finding the same thing that I'm finding as we talk about certain things or a certain brand. More and more resellers are watching the videos, and so there's more of a supply being put online, which if not everybody's on the same page with keeping that price margin up, we're going to start seeing little decreases, and sometimes a lot decreases in the money that they bring. And you just got to stay on your toes and stay on top of it and look for that next thing that hasn't happened to yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm seeing that, you know, well, Glassy Baby, the Goodwills are onto it now, which is, it's a glass candle holder. There's like a whole culture around the collectors. Like it's like Starbucks mugs where you got to have every one if you're a collector. But the Goodwills now are onto it because they're all marked. So it's like, so I'm sure.
I mean, Goodwill, they obviously want to make as much money as possible. So I'm not like, I don't have anything against them like raising prices. It bothers me when they like try to get more, like they don't research. They just see something and they're like, I think that's valuable, so I'm going to list it at $100. I'm like, you can buy it on eBay right now for $17 free shipping. So like, I don't know. Like they need to remember that they're a thrift store. Like obviously they're business and they want to make money, but why would I buy it from you for full price or even more than full price when I could get it online in my exact size, in my exact colorway, you know, with a 30-day return window? Like you got to be competitive. Thrift stores, I think their biggest issue is that they don't realize that in order to command online prices, you have to be able to have that audience. Like you can do whatever you want, but when you price something that's selling online, it's selling online for that price because there's millions of people that could possibly see it. Whereas if you're a thrift store, your audience is just who walks in the door that week, you know? So that's the big difference.
Right. And it's like you said, it's knowing who your customer is too, because there are some things that the resellers are the only people who are going to buy that item. And it's got to be at a price point where the reseller is going to pick it up. We have 11 actual Goodwill stores plus a clearance bins and a boutique. So out of the 11 stores, it's so different in their pricing. Like I know the stores where the managers understand, like, this is like, get it out of here quick. Let's price it to sell. They welcome resellers. And then there's the stores who are pricing it like there's somebody in the back there looking everything up on eBay and putting the eBay price on it. Yeah.
Yep. Happens all the time.
You guys seem to have like one main Goodwill that's like that's your go-to place. Do you have several?
Yeah, we have the one that has like the retail side and the outlet side, which is really nice. But there's like, I don't know, like 5 or 6 Goodwills in our area that they're all run by the same people. So all the prices are generally the same. One, I don't know, they're all like slightly different. Like one's really good with clothing. Like they have like almost all the stores, all clothing. One is a little bit better with shoes than normals, but all the prices are generally the same.
That's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I try to I mean, I have my one like that's like my go-to place, and then I try to go to the other ones at like once a month just to kind of mix it up. But it's like I just want to stick with the ones that just kind of know how to price it and get it out the door.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. The Goodwills are getting so many donations, and thrift stores in general with so many donations. Like, you just got to move it out. If you're trying to get full retail, and if you're asking full retail, you have to wait for that one person to come in the store that wants that exact item. Otherwise, they're not going to buy it unless they absolutely want it, because they're not getting a deal. They could just go online and buy it. And then, so anytime I walk into a thrift store and they have like really good stuff, like, oh wow, these shoes and these hard goods, it's usually because they're asking full eBay prices and they've been sitting on the shelf for years. We went to a thrift store in Florida with Drew and Joey and Dalton, and they were saying that one of the first thrift stores we went to, they had this pair of shoes that have been sitting on the shelf for over a year, like almost 2 years, because they want like $70 for them, and they sell on eBay for like 45. And they haven't dropped the price. They haven't put them on sale. They haven't done anything. They just put them on the shelf and wait. I'm like, all right, I guess they're just going to be sitting there forever.
Well, and that's the same with our eBay stores. It's like I'm all about like price it up in the top 10 percentile of pricing, but you have to have a strategy for how long you're going to let it sit there, and then have a strategy. Okay, it's time to like put it on sale or reduce the price or do something to move it out. And then there comes to a point where it's like, you know what? This is never going to sell. It's out of here, and free up that space for something else. So retail is retail, whether it's online or in the stores. So
exactly. So Lisa Hemphill says, then it goes to the bins, Goodwill bins, and breaks and gets thrown away. And I've seen a ton of stuff that ends up at our bins that have Goodwill price tags on them for crazy amounts of money. So they price it up above normal. Like, say you got a pair of shoes, normally $650, they price them at $25-$30, and they don't sell. They make it through the whole price cycle and never sell, because nobody's going to pay that much for those shoes. And then they end up at the bins and they sell for $2. I'm like, you just lost $4.50 in profit because you should have just sold them at the regular shoe price.
Exactly. I mean, I say that like over and over in my videos. It's like, I'm like you. I have nothing against them making as much money as possible, but it's true, when they price it at a point where nobody is going to pay that, and then and nobody even wants to pay it at half price, and then it ends up in the bins, and now they didn't make, sometimes even $10 or $15 in my case, like a glass item or a pottery item. And it's probably now broken and going to the landfill. And that's what like just breaks my heart. So you guys throw your questions over in the chat. It's like we're both kind of watching the chat for your questions, because
I'm trying to read everything.
Yeah, it gets tough.
Yeah. Etheldra Sharp says, where's our favorite place to source? Probably the flea market, because we generally pay up for stuff, but we can still find some really profitable items. And like, you never know what you're going to find out there. Like Goodwill, you might find good stuff every once in a while, but there's not really going to be any like crazy home runs. Where at the flea market, you can find, just random, much more random and exciting things than you can find at Goodwill typically. And also the videos are better because, I don't know, people like that interaction with like other humans, whereas at Goodwill, we don't really have much interaction with other people.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we literally have no flea markets out. I mean, we have a couple of things that kind of are considered like a flea, but they're not. Nothing like what you have there. When I go to California, they have one. So it's interesting to see the different sourcing techniques and having to go, different places. Like Goodwill here is just a treasure trove.
Yeah.
It's where we have to go. I mean, that's where the stuff is. But if we try to do our whole business out of the one like swap meet flea market place we have, it'd be pretty tough.
Yeah. You just have to figure out what works in your area. I mean, I don't know, some people have said that they don't like our videos because like it's not relatable for them because their thrift stores are overpriced. I'm like, well, the principles are still the same. Like your Goodwills may be overpriced, but I'm sure you have somewhere where you can go to find profitable items. Like Ohio has so many garage sales compared to us down here. Like our thrift stores are good, but our garage sales down here are awful. So you just got to figure out what works for you. And I do think there are some areas in the country that are just terrible all around, and you just shouldn't resell.
So Kathy asks, what type of shoes do you find the most?
I mean, probably just like Nikes, just like general Nikes. Just because they're so common, commonly made, they're so commonly worn. One of the best pieces of advice I've heard about shoes is just like look at what people are wearing. And when Hayley and I went to Disney World recently, like I was just constantly looking at people's feet to see what kind of shoes, and it was like all like Nike, Converse, Vans, Hoka's, On Clouds, a lot of Skechers. Like just that one trip to Disney World was like research to figure out like the top brands. Like I'm pretty sure those would be the top brands of shoes. Like maybe a little bit of Adidas. We didn't see very many Asics. I think I don't remember seeing any Asics at all, which kind of makes sense because we have several pairs of Asics in our store that haven't sold in a long time.
That's
But like,
really interesting because I mean, my niche isn't shoes, so I'm not like focused on shoes, but my niche is like glass and pottery. So when I go like out someplace, I'm like at restaurants, I'm looking at the bottom of the glasses to see what they're using. That's kind of the same principle as
I
following
think
that
it's
niche.
all about like mass appeal. Like, have you ever watched that show Flea Market Flip?
Yes.
So like whenever I'm watching an episode and I see like the two pairs of people competing against each other, and one couple is like really just out there and like flamboyant and just really into like the weird stuff, and they're like, we're gonna get this desk and paint it pink with glitter, and I'm like, you're gonna lose because you think that's cool and that's great, and there's probably other people out there in the world that think that's cool, but you're gonna have like 4 hours to sell it to random people in New York City. So you need to make something that's going to appeal to the mass audience, not that's going to appeal to like a really small niche down audience. And I think the same thing's true in reselling, like with glassware and stuff. Like just because you find something you think is cool, that doesn't mean that it's going to sell. Like we find stuff that we think is cool all the time, and it's still sitting, listed on an eBay store. Nobody else thought it was cool.
Yeah, and it's
But
really
I would just
like,
focus on like what other people like more than just yourself.
and the millennials now are the market. It used to be,
Mm-hmm.
my earlier it was the baby boomers, baby boomers, baby boomers. We're now selling the baby boomer stuff to the
Yeah.
millennials. So it's
Yeah.
got to be that cool factor that they want to decorate. I mean, I am really fortunate. I have a millennial daughter who
Mm-hmm.
likes to decorate and stuff. So I get a lot of feedback from her on like what's hot, what's not right now. But yeah, it's really just getting out there and learning like what are people wearing and what are they decorating with and what are the trends.
Yep. A lot of people look at like current magazines, like Magnolia Journal, or I don't know, that's the only magazine I can think of right now, but they always have like the trending things. Magnolia Journal comes out 4 times a year, so once a quarter. So like whatever that says is trending, there's probably a good chance that you should maybe sell that on eBay. Because a lot of times they'll say, oh, look for this. And the stuff they put in the magazines is like, $1,000 or $500 or something. Whereas if you have something that just looks similar, like I remember last year was like yellow, maybe like the color yellow was in. They were just pushing that. So I'm like, yeah, yellow stuff, list that. That would be another way to like kind of research what to sell.
So doing it wrong has a question for you. Do you ever plan to move into a larger space to accommodate your business?
We looked at like moving into like a rental, like a warehouse thing, but I'm like, the very cheapest, it'd probably be like $1,500 a month, like plus utilities. I'm like, we just buy a bigger house and then just like put a shed in the backyard, or get a house where we have like a whole, 2 or 3 car dedicated garage for the eBay business, rather than have a house and a business separate. So we're once we file our taxes this year, we're going to start, apply for the mortgage, and then start looking for a little bit bigger house that we could have either some land so we could put a big shop in the back, or something that's a house that's just big enough to have more room for our eBay business.
Nice. I'm at the point right now of looking to get the business out of my house and not because I don't have room. I've just had the eBay in my house for so long that I'm like, it would be really nice to just have my house be my house and put the car in the garage. Like, ooh.
That would be nice.
So here's one. What is selling the fastest for you lately?
I mean, it depends on how you price stuff. Like, I don't know, like it's not new, but like TI 84 plus calculators, like if you price those correct, if they work and you price them at, $55 plus shipping or $50 plus shipping, they should sell pretty instantly. Printer ink always sells really fast. Printer ink is like our there's like an eBay store that buys printer ink automatically if it's like priced under a certain mark. So like, there's been multiple times where we'll list printer ink or toner or whatever, and within like 10 seconds, it like you list it and then it immediately sells because there are bots that look for it. But again, it has to be priced appropriately.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I don't buy any of that kind of stuff on eBay. Like I'm sorry guys, I'm an Amazon girl when it comes to like I need printer ink. It's usually because the little warning sign came up and I'm out and I need to know that it's going to be here in a day or two. So.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a lot of people then like the comparison price from, well, I could get it on Amazon for this, but I'm not in that big of a hurry. So I can save a few bucks coming over to eBay for that. Yeah. Yeah. Here we go from Robin. What is a general strategy for how long you have an item listed before you reduce the price, put on sale, or donate?
We don't really have a set system in place. It just depends on the item and how we're feeling that day. Sometimes we'll send offers, 20 or 30% off. It's like a personal thing. Some things have been listed for a long time and I still don't send offers. I'm like, no, I'm going to wait. I'm going to be stubborn and wait for that right buyer to come along. And other things we'll start sending offers, one day after it's listed. Just depends on the item, I guess.
Yeah. And I'm the same way. It really is going to depend on what the item. I don't jump right to those send offers to watchers, but I do price knowing that I'm probably going to sell it on an offer or either I'm sending one or they're making one. So pricing at a point where you have the wiggle room to come down. I see like over in my Facebook group, so often sellers are so disappointed that somebody came in and offered them like $15 on something they had priced at $20. But that's a fairly reasonable offer. Like that's kind of where the market flows. So you price that at $25 or $30. Now they're going to offer you 20 or 25 because they offer based on what you have it priced at. So yeah, it's
they just want to feel like they're getting a deal.
Yeah, everybody wants to feel like they're getting a deal. eBay is historically a marketplace of more like a flea market vibe versus like a retail store where you go and that's the price.
Yeah.
So just pricing accordingly and having that strategy. I'm like you too. It's like at about 3 months, I will start moving things and doing markdown sales. 6 months, it gets 50% off most things. And then after a year, it's like, clear it, get it out of here for me. Unless it's something like super rare or needs just that right buyer. But generally, it's just keeping it moving. Let's see. I'm trying to find. I know I'm getting behind on the comments too, you guys, because I'm trying to find the questions. I'm sorry to hear that Tucson thrift stores are getting bad. I came from Tucson, so let's see. Lots of comments. Let me find the questions.
Yeah.
How do I figure out shipping prices and where do I buy boxes? So like these are like a lot of the basic questions that so many newer sellers have. And I honestly, Josh has a Facebook group. I have a Facebook group and there's lots of experienced sellers in those groups that can help you with these questions like this, these getting started questions. Because that is one of the things you're going to want to figure out if you're starting this business. And it's not like a really quick answer to that. It's like, shipping prices are based on where the item's going, how big the box is, and how much it weighs. So you need to know those factors when you're making your listing. And I recommend you don't try to do free shipping until you understand that.
Yeah. I think it's important to like do the research. Like I get a lot of questions on Instagram and even in the Facebook group, that's what it's for. But people that are asking questions, I'm like, this is like, if you just YouTube like eBay basics or how to sell on eBay. These are like the first questions that are answered in every video. So it's like obvious that people like, I think it's kind of laziness. Like people don't want to like watch a YouTube video. They want like to message somebody and get an answer directly, which I understand. It's like human nature, but also in business, like it's important to like fully understand it. Like I watch thousands of hours of YouTube videos about like how to sell on eBay, how to ship. And I'm like, we still every day, pretty much we get questions about how to ship golf clubs. I'm like, I've talked about this literally, no exaggeration, probably 40 different times in different videos. And we still get asked the question about it. And people are like, you should make a video about how to ship golf clubs. I'm like, I have. They're like, where is it? I'm like, just search Harry Tornado, how to ship golf clubs, how to ship golf bags. Like, I'm sure it's out there somewhere. Somebody asked me today if I had any videos about how to sell on eBay. Yeah. Somebody asked me today if I had any questions, any videos about how to sell on eBay. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what the whole channel is about, So I like helping people, but I think at some point people also need to help themselves a little bit.
Exactly.
Like if you ever have a question that you have Googled and YouTube searched and you can't find the answer, please message me. I love questions like that, like that actually you have to think about and put some effort into, and like, oh wow, that's interesting. Like we're very but I don't know. I'm kind of just tired of telling people how to ship golf clubs.
Yeah, and we actually have that as one of our rules. Over in my group, if you want something identified, you need to tell us what you've already tried. Tell us the homework you've already done. Because you're not going to learn in this business unless you are doing those things yourself. I mean, that's how I learned about glass is I'd research something, I'd sort by highest first, and I'm looking at all the other results too, going, oh, that's cool. Okay, all right, memory bank that one. And if somebody just gives you an answer, you're not getting that knowledge. You're not learning.
Yeah, you're not learning anything. I remember Jocelyn, Crazy Lamp Lady, says in her Facebook group that one of the most common things is people just like asking how much their stuff is worth. I'm like, that's not what we're here for. Like, you can learn like different brands, like what to look for in brands, but at some point you have to learn how to research it yourself. You can't just be dependent on other people to tell you what the value is. I mean, if you're brand new, then you have to start somewhere. But again, at some point you have to start putting in the work yourself and watching videos, especially when it's like really common questions.
Yeah, exactly.
I love you guys so much. I'm not complaining. I'm just
no. And it's like it's because we care that we give this advice, because we could just blow smoke up everybody's chimney and tell you what you want to hear. But if you want to make this business a success, this is what you need to hear and what you need to learn. So I love this question.
Doing the research. Bonnie Banks says doing the research is a big part of the fun. Yes, I think so.
I think so too.
Knowing how to like research comps and like just knowing how to check comps is so fun, because you can like see if you don't have to be dependent on what somebody else says, because somebody could tell you anything. You could say how much is this worth, and they could say $1,000. And if you don't know how to check that information for yourself, there's no point. Like you just have to trust somebody else. And knowing how to do it yourself is important, and it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Does Moe's get a cut of the YouTube checks, and if so, how much?
That's a good question. We actually did. We do actually pay Moe's a little bit to. I think it's called like a pet modeling fee. Because you have pets that literally do commercials on TV, and the pet will get a check, obviously. But then it's an animal, so that the owner of the animal gets the money. So we do. I think if you pay him more than like $400 or $600, it's like has some tax implications. So we just write in like a $600 check once a year for all of his hard work, and then his mom and dad cash it, and that's the extent of it. We may need to look at like paying him more to see if there's any tax savings anywhere.
Bougie's getting a cut this year.
Yeah, that's true. Not tax advice. Talk to an accountant. But yeah, if you have a pet that like, I think Moe's adds value to our YouTube channel, and I think you should be compensated fairly for that.
Absolutely. All right, let me see. Let me find you guys. I'm sorry if I missed your question. There is a lot going on in this chat, so let me just. I'm trying to find things that are going to help the most people, because we're only here for a short time. So it's nice that you have a chauffeur right now too. That's pretty cool.
I do. Yeah.
Is that okay? Hayley.
Hello.
And I have to apologize. I spelled Hayley's name wrong, but I fixed it.
Oh, it's okay.
And I should know better because my
spells
name
her
gets
name wrong.
spelled wrong all the time. All right, this is a great question. How did you get started with eBay?
And is that where I started? Yeah, so I found a Rally Roots video like 3 years ago, and I was like, that seems pretty easy. They're just going to thrift stores and buying shirts for $4, selling them for 30. Like that's cool. So I went to Goodwill and bought like, I don't know, spent like $200 on clothes, Tommy Bahama shirts and all that stuff. But I didn't realize that stuff didn't actually sell. I was watching like old videos. I sold it. I think the first thing I sold was like some stuff, like personal stuff. But the first thing I flipped from a thrift store was a pair of Nikes. Paid $6.50 for them. They sold for like $50 free shipping, and I was like, okay, this is cool. Like I can get behind this. I also got neutral feedback on that because the guy said that they weren't in as good a condition as he thought they were going to be or something. But luckily, I've only had like 4 neutral feedback total in the last like 3 years. Yeah, that's how I got started. And then once I started making sales and like turning, $6 or $7 into 50, that really kept the motivation low.
And it's still, I've been doing this for 20, it's my 24th year. And the thrill of finding something for $5 and selling it for 50 never gets old. It never gets old. It's true treasure hunting out there. So.
Yeah. Gary Vee talks about it all the time. Like, he owns VaynerMedia, and they're like $1 billion company. He's like, nothing beats the feeling of, and his threshold is slightly smaller. It's like, nothing beats the feeling of buying something for $1 and selling it for 3. I'm like,
no.
That's not quite the profit I'm looking for. But I understand what he's saying, like the thrill of like just finding something, for $1 or $5 or whatever, and even selling for like 20 or 25, like that's really good. A lot of people the stock market is kind of crazy right now, so a lot of people are losing money and buying in now. I think now's a good time to buy in. But I was talking to my friend Blake Knobloch today, and I'm like, why are we even investing? Like, we could just resell. Like, why am I trying to get, if I put $1,000 in Disney, which is what I did today, and Disney goes up by 10% over the next 6 months, I'd make $100. I'm like, I could go make $100 today at a thrift store by spending 20 easily. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, investing is good. Like, we have a Roth IRA and all that stuff for our retirement, but people just, I don't know. It's a lot of risk when in reality you can just invest a lot less money into reselling and make the same amount of dollars in profit.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. I mean, I do the Robinhood thing just to dabble, just to kind of learn about the stock market. And I've got a few stocks, but the Disney one's pretty crazy to me because we've been a Disney family since I can remember. And my brother started working there when he was 16. He's now 57. And
worked there?
He worked there. Yeah, we both worked there.
Wow.
Actually, he worked there first. So I got the short end of the stick on that one because family members are not allowed to work in any close proximity to one another. So I was what they call backstage in just costume. And he was out. He was a ride operator. He became the head of finance at one point. Oh, I know secrets about Disney. Wow. But they used to give stocks to the employees. Like you got regular stocks with your pay. And Disney literally bought his house in Anaheim Hills, California off of that. It was like, they don't do that anymore.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, stocks are crazy.
Disney hit their 52-week low. But I'm like, it's Disney. They're not going anywhere. Like,
no.
They're just going to, they're such a, I mean, they own everything. So I'm like, might as well just buy Disney now. It might go down a little bit more, but it's still not, its all-time high was like 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago or something. So you're not going to,
I picked up a toy.
In the long run, you're not going to.
I'm trying to remember what it was. I picked up this toy of like a well-known, it's a Muppet. But when did Disney buy Muppets?
I don't know.
Did you know Disney bought Muppets?
I didn't know.
Yeah, me neither.
I didn't realize that shadow.
It was a Muppet with a Disney tag on it, though. So I was like, I'm going to have to check that one out. All right. Thank you, mods, for being on the ball with our little friends that show up in the chat. Gotta love it. All right, you guys, if you typed a question and I missed it, go ahead and type it again because this chat is like boogieing. And try to make it like short and
Seattle says,
concise.
yeah.
Mid-century
Tommy
wasted.
Seattle says,
She says she contributed her $500 to Disney for the year. We're going to Disneyland in 2 weeks. If you're getting away with only $500 for your family, then you did good.
yeah, that is cheap for Disney.
Let's see.
Tommy in Seattle says, how many impressions do you get daily on your eBay store? Where should one be? I don't really look at any of that, to be honest.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, I don't really look at that either. Right now,
I feel like both of our stores are probably skewed by the YouTube views.
Yeah,
like
as far
people
as
looking at our
impressions go,
stuff.
yeah. Yeah, and honestly, my store is just a hot mess right now because I just started it all over from scratch, and there's not enough hours in the day. It gets low priority, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
I bet that was cleansing though to start over. I keep wanting to do that, but I'm scared.
it's going to be great when I
keep the same store, but just like delete all the listings and start over.
Yeah, well, see, what I did was I moved everything into list perfectly. So I didn't lose all the listings. And I'm doing my physical inventory. So now I can absolutely say, okay, I have this. I know where it's at. Boom, relaunch it. And that's kind of where we're going. Because my bookkeeper's like,
Yeah.
do you know what you actually have in inventory? And I'm like, yeah, not so much. So, do you do a physical inventory?
No, we just kind of, just kind of look at everything. I was like, I probably got like $2,500 worth of items here in terms of like what we actually paid. And we'll look at shoes. We've got 100 pairs of shoes. On average, we paid $7 or something, so $700 in shoes, roughly. Yeah, I don't know any retailer that does like full inventory with spreadsheets and checking off each individual item every year.
I have my spreadsheet I do have one of those just because I sell such a variety of stuff, and I kind of want to, I track and go like, how's the glass trends? How's the pottery trends kind of thing for me personally. And I'm up to date, except that when I started the system in late 2019, I didn't keep as good of track, like, cause I wasn't like doing the videos. So I have like all this stuff that I bought in like 2020, kind of going into 2021 that was in my store, but wasn't on my spreadsheet kind of. And it's just, so it's going to be very, very nice when that's all like caught up. I got somebody working on it. Let's see. How can I set up an inventory system so I keep on track? It's like, so, okay. Well, so we have two different ways of doing things. So that should be a good question. Oops, where'd it go? Hold on. Let me find that comment. There it is. Oh, squirrel. So Josh doesn't keep a detailed inventory. So how do you keep track kind of what you got going? And can you hear me?
I don't know if you asked me. You were breaking up for 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, so it's like, so how do you, if you don't do spreadsheets, so you just kind of estimate on what you have and have your eBay list. How much unlisted inventory do you have at any given time?
You were breaking up again a little bit, but I'm assuming you're asking about if we don't do a spreadsheet, how do we track inventory?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully everybody can hear me. We're almost home, I promise. Yeah, I mean we don't really track inventory. I mean once it's listed, it's on eBay. I am making a video today about using like a big problem with eBay is that you can list something, buy it now, which is supposedly supposed to stay listed forever until it sells. But we just went through our listed inventory the other day and noticed that we had probably like 70 things that were listed, like we had listed in the past, that were no longer listed on eBay. So that's like a huge issue. So like you can track your inventory if you want, but if eBay is like randomly delisting your items, it doesn't really do anything. So yeah, we don't track individual items. We just track for taxes. We just track our total money in, total money out. And then for inventory, we just, once we list something, kind of forget about it. And then once a year, we'll go through and just see what eBay has decided to delist this year, and then decide if we want to take new pictures and relist it or just redonate it.
Yeah. Are you using List Perfectly?
Yeah, we actually pay for List Perfectly. People think we get it for free because we're YouTubers, but they gave us 1 month for free, and now we have the $70 a month package.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. We still cross post on Poshmark, but we stopped listing on Mercari. We just had a lot of issues. A lot of other people having issues with Mercari. So we stopped using Mercari, but we still cross post our clothing and shoes on Poshmark. And then I think the biggest perk of List Perfectly is having that catalog of inventory. When we list everything with List Perfectly first, and then cross post it to eBay and Poshmark. But then it stays in List Perfectly forever. So if we go to eBay and realize that they took something down 6 months ago, instead of having to take pictures and redo the listing, we just go back to List Perfectly.
Oh, we lost your sound. So for me it was, I used to do everything in eBay drafts, and eBay lost about 500 drafts that I had in there. And
wow,
that hurt. And that's when I was like, you know what, never again. And that's like List Perfectly is going to keep them there no matter what eBay does. It just feels like better control over
it's a big benefit. Like, it may not be worth having a $70 a month package, but it may be worth the $29 or something just to have that catalog there.
If you're going to do it for that. Yeah. So I do have, like I said, I do keep track of my spreadsheet of what comes in, but I don't do it myself because I'm making videos. And at the end of every video, I do a recap that shows what it is, what I paid, and the estimated value. And so I have a VA that watches that part of the video. She puts it on the spreadsheet, and then I can actually have somebody help me list the stuff because I've already called it what it is. So they don't, have to go like, what is that? They know how much I want to price it at. And it just, for me, that works really well.
Yeah.
But it just makes it easy to do it. Oh, he's out of the car. So, but yeah, and I think it brings to the point too, you have to find the thing in this business that works for you, because it's your business. Like you are an eBay seller, but you're not selling for eBay. You're selling for yourself and using eBay as a part of your business model. So you can do whatever works best and take something he says, take something I say, do something totally different. It's really like finding that sweet spot of what makes life easier for you and helps you be the most profitable in your business.
Yeah. Somebody asked what List Perfectly was. It's a listing and cross-posting service. It's kind of like a Vendu, or it's not like Sellhound. Sellhound does it for you. It's not, they don't list it for you, but basically it's a website that you can go and list to eBay, and I think they list up like 13 or 14 different platforms.
I think they have 16 now.
16
sites, But
it's awesome.
You can manage your inventory in there. You can cross-post to different sites. And I don't know if you
record like your cost of goods. So like you can like print a report for all your sales.
Exactly.
It's pretty cool.
And I don't know if you heard, a lot of people ask like, well, what if I sell it in 2 places at once? Kind of, there's that concern about cross-posting. I saw an update just happened, and I just had to refresh everything. It might be, I don't know if it's on there. I think it might be automatic delist now. It was, you had to go in and actually click the button to take it off the other sites.
Yeah.
Automatic now.
So I thought it was going to be difficult because they would have to monitor it like constantly. But I think if they could make like some system that just like checks your store, like even every like 30 minutes, just like every 30 minutes, it checks the store to see what's recently sold. And based off that item number that List Perfectly already has, it automatically delists it on other platforms.
Oh, Bree, are you bribing people to do likes to see Bougie? Oh, that's right. You can't see Bougie when I'm like on the screen with someone else. I'll show. Don't worry. Bougie will get on here so that Bougie can earn his salary.
Doing it wrong says if you sell in 2 places at once, you'll get kicked off Facebook Marketplace like Josh did. I will say that the issue isn't selling 2 things at once. The issue is canceling orders. So I'm like, I was recently thinking, I was like, okay, it's pretty much inevitable. Like, even if you're not cross posting, occasionally you're going to sell something that's 2 years old and you just don't have it. You redone it. Something's going to happen, and you'll have to cancel the order. But like, what can we do to make sure the buyer's happy and also make sure we don't have to cancel an order? So like today, we actually sold two things over the weekend that we don't have. One was a golf club. I have no idea where it is. I just don't have it, which that sucks because it was like $100 sale. And the other was a pair of shoes that I also don't know what happened to those. The golf club, I did have to cancel that one, unfortunately, because it wouldn't work because it was an international buyer. But the clogs we sold, I basically just messaged the buyer. I was like, hey, I'm really sorry. We just don't have these. I don't know what happened. I'll send you a full refund, 100% full refund. You don't have to pay anything. But I'm also going to send you a gift card. I have like they're over there, like 10 $5 Starbucks gift cards. And I just ordered and like printed the shipping label. And for the label, I just hit first class 1 ounce. And I got like a padded envelope, put the gift card in there with a little card that said, so sorry about that, whatever. And sent it, like shipped it through eBay. So eBay thinks we sent the item. And then I immediately went and gave her a full refund on the item. So she doesn't pay anything and she gets the card in the mail. eBay thinks I sent it to her.
That is brilliant.
A workaround so you don't have to cancel the item. But
the
only time it wouldn't work was with an international buyer. Like the golf club was international, so I couldn't send them. It was through the eBay global shipping program, so I can't send them a gift card and the eBay sees that it's not a golf club,
Right.
But that should get rid of all cancellations. And I think it'll work on as long as there's a way to give somebody a refund without canceling the order. I don't know. I've never done that on Poshmark or Facebook or anything, but that should get around everything.
So eBay doesn't see the refund as a cancellation?
No. They see how it'd be the equivalent if you like selling something to somebody and then complaining about whatever, and then you just give them a full refund and tell them to keep the item. Like eBay just sees it as the item and then get them a full refund.
Okay, that's brilliant. I'm going to incorporate that. Like, yay! Not that it doesn't happen.
Items, but, they're going to happen eventually. So we have like. I got went to Walgreens and I got like 5 or 10 $5 Starbucks gift cards, and we just hopefully hopefully these will last me forever. Hopefully I won't have to cancel 10 things.
And you might even be able to get some like Harry Tornado personalized ones.
Maybe, yeah. I didn't know what I figured Starbucks was good. $5, that's good for like one drink, maybe, unless you get a fancy drink.
Yeah, I'm glad I got we went to Starbucks like twice because he wanted to like check it out because he's now like a coffee connoisseur. And I just bought him a Keurig here at home and he's much happier. I actually get to enjoy my coffee.
Yeah, we go to Starbucks occasionally, or like there's this nice coffee shop we go to just to work sometimes. And like the coffee we get there is just not as good as the one I make at home.
Yeah.
I'm paying $6-7 for the coffee that's not even good. Probably just have my Keurig.
This is the thing, you guys. I know there's a lot of talk of the economy being bad and there's a lot of people hurting, but the lines at Starbucks, the lines at Chick-fil-A, the lines those lines go around the block still, which means there are still people spending money. So don't think that people aren't going to come buy stuff in your eBay store. People just have their priorities of where their money goes. All right, let's see. Last minute questions here. Boy, time flies. My son is asking me who is at the door, and he must be forgetting that mom is on a live stream. It's like, Noah, go down and see who's at the door. Let's see. All right, guys, I'm looking for questions. And don't worry about like, oh, if I got to send $5 out every time, it doesn't happen very often. It doesn't.
That's like, that would like motivate you too, because I'm out, the $5 gift card plus the shipping, which was like $3.28 or something. But I'd rather pay $8.28 than have a cancellation on my account.
Yeah. And there was a question about pre-boxing orders. This came up in my group too. I guess there's a lot of people out there that like to pre-box all their stuff. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a waste of space. when you start pre-boxing stuff, you're gonna forget to label something, and then you're gonna sell it, and you have to open boxes to see what's in there, and then somebody's gonna say, what is this in this picture, this section? Could you give me a closer look, or could you give me measurements of that thing? I don't like it. And then you got, like, that's assuming everything sells. Like, even now we list stuff that doesn't sell and we redonate it. So if you, it's like, you're just, there's no time savings. Like, it might seem like there's time savings, but you're going to spend the same time packing up something, whether you pack it right after you list it or if you pack it when it sells. So you're not saving, you're just wasting space and probably wasting time, assuming that at least one of those things you packed up doesn't sell, and you'll eventually have to open it up and redonate it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't pre-box. And it's a lot of that anxiety of, like, what is it going to weigh? And so obviously, like, you have a great niche in shoes and some other things, and you know what it takes to package those. You know what the box pretty much is going to weigh. You've shipped so many of them. You just know what that weight's going to be. And it's kind of the same, you know, even though I sell a variety of stuff, I still can look at a thing and go, yeah, that's going to go in the number 7 USPS box that's 12 by 12 by 8. And all I got to do is know what that item weighs, and then just add half a pound to 1 pound for the box and the materials, and boom, you got your stuff.
Yeah, I think a big problem with newer resellers is they just overthink everything, which is good. I'd rather people overthink it than, like, just be, like, really lackadaisical in their selling, because then they would make careless mistakes and give all eBay sellers a bad name. But, like, people are so worried about, like, making sure they pre-box all their items. I'm like, it's just estimate. Like, shoes are either 2 or 3 pounds generally. Occasionally I might have a 4-pound pair of shoes for, like, boots. But usually we just put all of our shoes at 2 pounds. You know, if I have a VCR or something, if you ship VCRs with UPS ground, even if they're, 5 pounds or 8 pounds, they're generally going to cost like $15 to ship. So it's, don't overthink it, but also don't, like, somebody on Instagram the other day messaged me and said, I just listed my first item on eBay, and it was one of those Sony 200 CD changers. They're like this big and probably like 10 pounds. I'm like, please don't do free shipping. Please know how to ship appropriately before you list that.
Ouch. Yeah. And shipping is becoming a little problematic on those larger items. And it's like everything else, it's going to find its balance. It's going to affect things for a while. But as I said, 24 years into this, with postal increases every single year, and there's the grumble and higher prices, and then everybody's going through the same thing, and it just becomes the way things are, and it levels out, guys. So don't panic. And I think the thing with the shipping, there's a lot of fear and anxiety about doing it wrong, or having something show up broken. And I mean, and that's where you need to, like, do your research. Like I said, I have a whole playlist of shipping videos. Like, go watch. It's all breakables, everything from a big piece of art to a large glass vase. Like, just go watch that stuff and see, because that stuff I was actually packing up to ship out to somebody who bought it on eBay. And other people do shipping videos. But familiarize yourself with how to ship those things, and then go for it. Just go for it, because that's how you learn in this business.
Yeah.
Here's a good one.
I've seen so many. I would say, especially with breakables, like, that's really something you need to know how to ship before you get into it. I've had people send me, like, oh, I found this at the thrift store, and it's like a set of plates that they paid $20 for, and comps were like 70 free shipping. I'm like, well, to package those like 12 plates appropriately and ship them is probably going to be like $40.
Yep.
And so there's really, it's kind of a waste of your time. So they're probably going to lose money after, like, all the bubble wrap and everything.
Everybody's like, why did you pass that up? Why'd you pass that up? Because I already know the hassle factor in dealing with that, whatever that item is. And it's not worth it time-wise. So speaking of time, how many hours do you estimate you work each week, including sourcing and bookwork?
I don't know. I don't really, we don't track it, because it's self-employed. So we just work whenever we want to work, and whenever I get tired of working, I stop, But I mean, probably at least 40 or 50. Like if you count this and like if you count responding to messages on Instagram and stuff, it's probably like 100, but probably like 40 or 50 on average.
Yeah, it's like I tell people, like each one of the videos is about 5 to 6 hours of work. Is yours about?
It depends on the video. Like
shoot the video, you edit the video.
Yeah, to shoot and edit. I made a tax video recently. It's called like the IRS is coming. Here's what you should do. And that video was like 5 hours just filming because I just kept messing up and I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it that day, but I had to make it. So that video was probably all in like 8 hours, 8.5 hours. Wow. But the other videos are like the video. The video we posted two videos ago with just Hayley and I in the car. We filmed that in like 50 minutes. Just like turn the camera on, turn the mics on, 50 minutes, and then it took me maybe like an hour and a half to edit because it wasn't anything fancy. It was just cutting the fat out. So that one's probably like 2 hours, 2.5 hours all in.
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, my thrifting videos are about like just the editing together part is maybe like an hour to hour and a half. But then it's like I have to research every item and put all that info in. And so you add another hour and a half and all of that. Yeah. But on the eBay side of things, before I was doing YouTube, I would spend a good 4 to 6 hours a day on my eBay business, and doing a really decent business with that time frame.
Yeah.
So it's realistic. But then you throw YouTube in there and it's like, whew.
Yeah. Something else I'll add about shipping is that calculated shipping is not always the best option I've found. Cause like sometimes like, especially if you have a big item, like a big vase or something, and it's, 5 pounds and it's a big box. If you do calculated shipping, the customer is going to see their calculated rate based on full retail. So it'll say like, if customers in California from South Carolina, it might say that they're going to be charged $100 for shipping, when I know I could probably ship that UPS ground for like 25. So like a lot of bigger items, I won't do calculated, or I'll do calculated, but I won't put the full poundage. Like I'll do the box dimensions, but put it like a 2-pound rate, even though it's like 8 or 9 pounds, just so the buyer pays a more reasonable price. Cause I don't want the buyer to, like, your item's not going to sell if customers have to pay $100 to ship something, generally, right, unless they really, really want it. So sometimes I'll do that. Even like with VCRs, sometimes I'll list free shipping, and then just factor in like $18 over the cost of the item to account for shipping. And sometimes it might go to Hawaii or something, and I might lose $10 or so. But that's pretty rare. And it generally, we see a pretty good increase in sales because people see a much more reasonable price, to ship. I don't like, we sold a pair of shoes yesterday, and for some reason I put a 3-pound rate. They were 3 pounds, but the buyer paid like $26 to ship them to like Oregon or something. And it actually cost like 14. So, I mean, we profited on shipping a little bit, but I don't know, like, I feel bad. I'm not going to send a refund. I don't feel that bad, but, that's just an example of when a customer paid more than they had to because I did calculated shipping.
Yeah. And it comes down to, again, knowing what you sell. Not every category of items is going to be the same. There are some commodity type items where there's heavy competition, and the free shipping can be an advantage over somebody who's doing calculated. And in the antiques collectibles, generally calculated is fine because they're not price shopping. They're buying off of impulse or emotion, or it's something they really want. So it's just really knowing what it is you're selling. Do you mind? So yeah, well, I cannot believe it's already 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock for you.
5 o'clock. Yeah.
It's crazy how time flies. I just want to thank you so much for coming on. As I said, like your willingness to help other people understand this eBay business and putting it out there on screen. And you are one of the people that I feel very confident recommending to others to watch because of your information. And there are some that I will not recommend because not all the information out there is accurate, but
I don't give the most detailed information. There's nothing you're going to hear on our channel that's like groundbreaking, but it's also accurate. I'd make sure whatever I'm saying is accurate. I think that's the most important.
Yeah, no, it's great. And just, watching your interactions, and negotiating pricing and really for me, it's like, your niche. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, how much time do you spend when you go to the flea market?
Usually like an hour. It
See?
just depends on how many people are there.
That the fact that you can go there, you can zero in on those things that are going to be profitable for your business
Mm-hmm.
and come away and be able to go home and list it. Like it's awesome.
It's a bit like we do a lot of flea market videos because they perform really well. Like if they didn't get views, I wouldn't make them. We might maybe, but not as much. And people are like, oh, it's another flea market video where you're buying shoes and golf clubs. And I'm like, yeah, but we're buying shoes that for 25, 30 bucks that we're selling for 100, we're buying golf clubs for 5 that we're selling for 50. Like, why? What's wrong with this? They're like, it's just boring. I'm like, sorry, I'm boring you with my really, really profitable items.
Yeah.
I was like, I just wish you buy different things. I'm like, would you rather me buy just a really weird item that I lose money on? Is that what you want? Like, I'm looking for stuff we can profit on.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes you pass them. I'm like, no, I wish I was there.
Yeah.
But, well, thank you so much for coming on and being willing to share, your business with others and help others. For me, that's what it's all about is being able to help others. And I hope we can do this again sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And
sorry I was on my phone the whole time. We got carried away.
I will be seeing you in Las Vegas later this year if you're going to come back out for.
We're going to be in Vegas. I'm hosting another meetup this year. It'll be in Charlotte for those on the East Coast, whoever wants to come, but an East Coast meetup. It'll be August. We don't have all the details, but it'll definitely be August. I think it's 24th and 25th, like the last Wednesday and Thursday of August.
Excellent.
People have already complained that it's during the week, but you just have to deal with it. The Boss Reseller Remix is also during the week, so that's a very common problem. But yeah, that should be fun. We're excited.
Awesome. And if you guys would like to stay tuned on when that's happening, you're going to have to go subscribe to Josh's channel, Harry Tornado.
That's right.
Thank you everyone for being here. And with that, go be profitable and make it fun. We'll see you on the next one.